For years I've told this story. Meeting my childhood hero backstage, lead singer of my favorite band, I remembered everything. The sticky floor, the smell of stale beer, even what he supposedly said, keep on dreaming, kid. Felt so real, so
Yeah.
formative.
Yeah.
Turns out I was sick that night. Never even went to that show. My brother talked about it so much, I just absorbed it. It was completely made up, but felt real for decades.
Wow.
And that just got me thinking, how many of our really cherished memories aren't quite right?
That's actually a perfect place to start because
Yeah.
that experience, it really hits the core of what we're diving into today,
Yeah.
the true nature of memory, which is often pretty surprising.
Right, because we think of our brains like perfect recorders.
Exactly. Like a little video camera in your head,
Yeah.
storing everything precisely. But insights from Psychology Today and writer Dale M. Kushner show it's just not like that. Our memories are much more active, creative even.
So it's not about suddenly distrusting everything we remember, more about understanding the mechanics. Like every time we recall something, we're changing it a bit.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That's the goal here. To really get how memory actually works, it's much less like that static camera and way more like a skilled storyteller, constantly re-editing, reshaping the past
Yeah.
and understanding that. It's pretty key, not just for our own personal histories, but for how we see the bigger picture, the collective stories we all share.
Okay, so let's dig into that. This big shift. The common idea is memories, video recordings, perfect playback.
Right. The old view.
But the sources are clear. Memories aren't static. They're dynamic reconstructions. That's the big takeaway, yeah.
It really is. And it's fascinating how chameleon-like memory is. Cognitive neuroscience is way past the old Greek idea of memories being like stamped onto wax in the brain. Now we see it as this complex, interconnected network of neurons. It's constantly being redefined, refined. It's not just a file you open. It's a living system. It shows incredible plasticity, always adapting, always in flux.
And this isn't just theory. Gina Vild in Psychology Today, she shared this amazing story.
You have a Biden one?
Yes. She had this super vivid memory watching Joe Biden at the Watergate hearings in '72, picturing him grilling Modine, even thought she might have told him about it. But then a friend pointed out, history check, Biden didn't become a senator until '73.
Right.
But she said that faux memory felt completely, profoundly real.
And it's not just her. Dale Kushner writes about Oliver Sacks, the famous neurologist. He had this incredibly detailed childhood memory, London Blitz, dousing an incendiary bomb.
Wow.
He described the vicious hissing, the molten metal, super specific. Only after his book came out did he find out. Nope, he was away at boarding school then.
No way.
All those vivid details, they came from a letter his older brother wrote him.
So these aren't just weird glitches, they're actually common.
Very common. It shows just how fallible memory can be for anyone. It's not about being forgetful. It's about how memory works.
Okay, that's, unsettling, but really interesting. So if they're not static, if they keep shifting,
Right.
what's actually doing the reshaping? What forces are at play here?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
The sources point to 4 key things that influence this reconstruction. First up, media and external events.
Okay.
Think news reports, social media stuff you overhear. It can sort of seep into your memory bank, right? Blurs the line between what you lived and what you just heard or saw.
Like the 9/11 example they mentioned.
Exactly. The flashbulb memory idea. So many people saw the footage of the second plane hitting over and over
Right.
that they developed these really detailed memories of seeing it happen live, even if they didn't. That repeated exposure, it can genuinely implant or distort a memory.
That makes total sense. Our brains just kind of weave it all together. What we lived, what we watched, what people told us.
Precisely. Okay, second factor, imagination. Our minds don't like gaps, so they fill them in, often with assumed details or maybe how we wish things had happened.
Oh, interesting.
It blends into what we recall. It's not always a conscious thing like lying. It's deeper.
Yeah.
A cognitive process. Like if you imagine yourself being really, I don't know, magnanimous in an old argument,
Yeah.
you might start to genuinely remember yourself being that way, even if the reality was a bit messier.
So we literally give ourselves retroactive edits to be the hero. That's kind of wild.
It really is. Third factor, emotions. Big one.
Okay.
Emotionally charged events. They get recalled more vividly. Stress hormones actually enhance how memories form.
Right. Like you never forget where you were during a crisis.
Exactly. But here's the catch. Negative emotions often overpower the positive ones in memory. So that family vacation, It might get remembered mostly for, say, the one huge teenage meltdown,
Oh, yeah. I know that
rather than all the chill, happy moments on the beach.
Yeah.
That one dramatic negative event gets amplified. It becomes a dominant memory of the whole trip.
That feels incredibly true. One bad moment can just taint the whole memory.
And the last one, social influences.
Okay, like friends and family.
Yep. When we talk about the past in our social circles, we often create these shared stories. It builds bonds, right?
Sure.
But sometimes the group's version, or just one confident friend's version, can actually override your own individual memory.
So if my friend swears we both went to that book fair years ago.
Yeah, even if you have zero recollection, you might start to think, well, maybe I was there. You might even start to develop details. Adopt their memory as your own. Our personal recollections are really porous.
It's amazing how many ways our memories get nudged and reshaped. It really does sound like that old game of telephone, doesn't it?
That's a great analogy.
You whisper something, and by the end of the line, it's completely different. Selective hearing, little interpretations, biases.
Yeah.
The final story barely resembles the start. And if you keep thinking about an old memory, replaying it, it must get harder and harder to separate the original stuff from all the new bits you've added along the way.
Exactly. Which, raises a pretty important question. What are the bigger implications here? It's not just about messing up a personal story. This fallibility, it affects our identity, right?
Yeah.
Our legal system, even how we understand history as a society.
That's a huge point. Memory feels so fundamental to who we are. It builds our life story, our autobiography. That's essential for identity.
Absolutely.
We count on memory to tell us what's real, who we are. Remembering good choices boosts our self-image. Remembering bad ones helps us learn, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's how we track ourselves through time.
And when that's lost, it's devastating. Oliver Sacks had this incredibly profound quote Kushner shared. Something like, if a man loses a leg, he knows it. But he loses himself, his self. He can't know it because he isn't there anymore to know it.
Wow.
It just highlights how memory loss can be an erasure of personality. It strips away what makes us, well, us. A really harrowing idea.
And it's not just personal identity, as huge as that is. Think about the real-world impact. An eyewitness's unreliable memory that could send someone to prison.
Huge consequences.
Or public policy getting based on invalid eyewitness reports. The stakes are incredibly high. Justice, safety, it all relies on memory being somewhat accurate.
And it's not just our internal recall we need to be wary of. The source makes a point. Nor are photographs or digital images to be trusted.
Oh, right. Photoshop AI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Technology can alter images of real events or create fake ones and slip them into our collective awareness. They look real. It seriously challenges our grip on what actually happened, because even seeing isn't always believing anymore.
That's a really powerful warning. Memory then becomes this kind of battleground for beliefs, for values, individually and for whole societies. You see it in history and fiction, too. Like the 1950s, all that anti-communist fear, the movies back then, noir thrillers, sci-fi, they were obsessed with thought control, brainwashing.
Right. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah. This terrifying idea of memories being wiped or replaced to control people.
Or look at fiction like The Handmaid's Tale. Memory of the past is literally forbidden in Gilead. But Offred keeps having flashbacks.
Right, a form of resistance.
Exactly. A symbol of the mind fighting back. And historically, authoritarian regimes, Chairman Mao, Stalin, they actively tried to annihilate the past, rewrite history to control the present.
Yeah.
Even now, in our own country, think about the ongoing work of collectively remembering the unspoken stories of indigenous peoples, of the enslaved. It's this massive, vital process of reclaiming and reshaping historical memory.
It's so complex.
But, even when things are incredibly difficult, memory can be surprisingly resilient. Dale Kushner shared this really moving story about her sister.
With early onset Alzheimer's?
Yes. And despite her condition, occasionally there'd be these gems of memory. Her sister would suddenly recall a childhood story with absolute clarity. Might even swing her hand like they were kids again, this mischievous brightness in her eyes.
Oh, wow.
It shows that the mind, even when it's, under siege, can still mutiny and remember. These little glimmers of the past breaking through.
That's beautiful and heartbreaking. So, okay. Given all this, what can we actually do? How do we handle this shape-shifting nature of our own memories day to day?
Well, the sources offer some really practical steps. 4 main things. First, just acknowledge memory's chameleon-like nature.
Except it's not perfect.
Exactly. Just accepting that your memory and other people's is fluid. It makes disagreements about the past less contentious. You can shift from "you're wrong" to we remember that differently. Fosters more openness.
That alone feels like a big shift, especially in families, right?
Totally. Okay, second, document your life.
Like journaling, photos.
Yeah, journaling, videos, photos, they help
Yeah.
pinpoint and confirm specific details. They act as external anchors, right? A practical tool to preserve your personal history against those internal edits.
Got it. Like fact-checking yourself.
Sort of.
Hmm.
Third, keep a timeline. We think we'll remember everything, big or small, but we won't.
Definitely not.
So a simple timeline of major events, maybe even smaller ones. It's a practical reference for when things get fuzzy, helps you place events correctly, verify timing,
Makes sense.
and finally, number 4, relive memories with others.
Talk about the old times.
Yeah. Share those stories with people who are actually there with you, family, friends. It often helps clarify details, filling gaps from different perspectives.
Yep.
Plus, there's a great bonus. Research shows that reliving happy memories boosts one's happiness. So it's good for your memory accuracy and your mood.
That's a win-win. Connecting the practical with just feeling good. And it brings us back to Gina Wild, right? Her Biden memory. She realized she'd just conflated 2 distinct memories of different hearings. And hey, it made for a great story.
Exactly. It's about accepting that confluence of experiences, that mixing up, not seeing it as some kind of personal failure.
So the big picture today is, our memories aren't like dusty archives. They're living things, constantly changing, evolving, fluid, complex, sometimes frustratingly so.
Absolutely, and understanding that it's really profound, not just for our little anecdotes, but for our sense of self, our relationships, how we understand history together. It pushes us to think more deeply about the stories we tell ourselves and each other, and maybe hold them a bit more gently, with more curiosity.
That really makes me wonder, could it be that our memories aren't just holding on to past events, but they're actually like the bedrock of our beliefs, our values? What's the real power in knowing our memories are always changing, always adapting? And how can that knowledge empower you listening right now, moving forward?